So welcome back to the shop, everybody. For those of you that have picked this little video because you'd like to see some CNC work, go ahead and jump forward 6 minutes 45 seconds. That's where it begins. But for the rest of you, sit back and enjoy this project. This was a whole lot of fun. Thanks for checking me out. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Doesn't cost you anything to subscribe. What subscribing does for a YouTuber is gives them motivation to keep making these videos. As I always say, let's get started. Welcome back to the shop. So, recently a friend of mine at work gave me a round glass top table. Well, sort of gave me a round glass top table. He broke the glass out of it, and he said rather than throw it away, he knows how I like to take stuff out of the dumpster and turn it into things. I decided I'd take that round table and see if I couldn't put a wooden top on it and pretty it up. So, that's what I'm doing with these flexible pieces of plywood that I'm making. Let me show you the table. It's right there. Pull it ahead. Jump up, Atlas. Now, as you can see, the table's got this gap in here. And I didn't like that gap, so I said, how am I going to fill this in? Well, you take some 1/4 inch plywood, cut it to the height you need, put some slots in it all the way down, 1/2 inch increments, roughly. There's no science there. And you can take this piece of plywood and you can fit it in there all the way around, and bing bang boom, now we got something pretty in there. Now this piece has a bad spot right here, so I'm going to cut that out roughly here. It'll eliminate this knot and this ugly. Now, we're going to fit this back in there. I'm going to take this one, wrap it around there tight, make a mark, and whack it off. Just like that. Lisa jumped when that fell. Alright, y'all, I don't know if the camera can pick this up or not. But I'm not cutting that 90. Put a slight round on it to match the turn of this guy here. By rounding this corner, I can tap it this way or that way and not bind into those little teeth that are created by making the notches in the plywood. Yeehaw! Alright, y'all. Here's something you might not have ever seen before. These are called Izzy skirt washers. But anyway, we are going to put these here, just like this, on all 4 crosses. And then when you set your tabletop on, you can drill from underneath in here. This slot allows for expansion and contraction of the wood. So we'll put 4 of these on here. That should be enough. 1 on the cross. Good to go. Nothing real technical here. Just kind of eyeballing where I want it. Taking a spade bit, creating a recess, like so. Put that in there. It allows for this way and this away. So, you've seen me make cutting boards on this SHAPEOKO. You've seen me make all them signs behind me. Well, I thought I'd put the old SHAPEOKO to work again with this table, this round table I'm making. Now, some people might think this is crazy, but this is the biggest carve I've ever done on this thing. It's going to be a 34-inch round circle with a design in the center so that I can backfill it with epoxy. Now, I don't know if it's going to work, but we're going to give it a shot. Let's give it. Now, some people might also say using a piece of plywood is crazy. But I'd rather wreck this piece of plywood I had laying out back than go through a whole glue up and all of that and wreck that. So, plywood it is. Now what I'm going to do is, I've already made a cross mark in the center, so I know where the center is. That's where my origin is on this board. I'm going to yank that tool over to the center, line up with the V-bit that's in there so that I can hit dead square right in the center. I'm going to zero it out for my X and Y axis. Then I'm going to put the end mill in it that I'm going to use, and then I'm going to zero out the Z. So by rapiding, is that a word? So by using the rapid movements, I'm going to take the router right to the center. That way I can shift the board to where I need it. Now as you can see, the router went to the center and I'm way off. So I need to be kind of like this. Let me drop it down and get close. Close enough. So we're going to move that V-bit so the point on that bit is exactly in the center of that X. And that will get me in the center of this piece of wood, and I should have enough room. Alright. Something like that. Now to square this, I'm going to take the tape measure and go right out the front, and I'm 1.8 inches there, and I'm 1.8 inches there, so I know I'm square. Hey, that rhymes. And here's something else people don't typically do, but there's no way to clamp it as it sits now, Jed. Jed, clamp it. Some of the older guys might understand that joke. The younger ones won't. Zero out X and Y. Lift the machine so I can change the bit. Lose my wrenches, here they are. Now you've seen me use these guys before. These collars from Pawn CNC, not sponsored. But we're going to start with an 1/8" end mill to do the carving. And I'm going to use the old trusty probe to get the height of the board. To zero out the Z. Alright y'all, let's give it a go here. See if we have to throw away a piece of 3/4 inch gold here. Wish me luck! Gotta stay hydrated.
So unfortunately, I should have had the piece of wood roughly 1.5 inches further forward. As it turned out, it wouldn't do the back corner. There's no corner in a circle but the back end of the circle. I mean the back roundy part. You all know what I mean.
Who says you need a CNC? I can do it by hand. this thing has been a pretty good carve. I will admit though, I made a mistake. And a long time ago when I started this, I said if I made mistakes, I was going to try to point them out to you to help you guys not make the same mistake. As you can see, the cleanup on this thing is tremendous. I've been doing it with a knife, going around all of the shapes. I'm going to be hitting it with this sander, cleaning it up. The reason that the cleanup is so tremendous is because of the way I configured the program for the CNC. I had the cutter going like this, back and forth. It should have been going around in circles. It would have cleaned up all of that stuff. It was a miscue in my programming, not the machine's fault. So we'll just keep sanding it till we get it clean, and then we're going to backfill this thing with some epoxy. And I think when Dennis sees this table, he's going to be mighty impressed. Now I'm doing this so that I don't have to sand this as much.
Okay, so you can see I spared you all the whole sanding routine. Right here I'm beginning to put the edge banding on, making a mark where I'm going to cut it. Okay y'all, so what you're going to see here is real-time speed. This is how fast this thing was cutting out these little bitty birds. Pretty cool. Now what I'm making here is a slide that ball bearing is going to rest on when I cut this off with the flush trim bit. I want to hold that bit up roughly 1/8 of an inch above the surface of that table, leaving me 1/8 of an inch with that banding, which will then leave me an area where I can close the gap in the back with hot glue so the epoxy won't pass between the edge banding and the table all over my workbench. And here's how it works.
Okay, so some of you might wonder why cardinals. Maybe some of you know, maybe some of you don't, but cardinals are, supposedly, when a cardinal comes to your window or comes to visit you, it's a lost loved one. And in this case, Mom and Dad, Lisa's mom and dad, we always remember them, and we sure do love them in this.
Just like always, I've got my trusty supervisor keeping an eye on my work. Pretty cool dude he is. Mr. Atlas.